Hey friend, in today's watercolor tutorial, we're going to be going over how to paint this desert gold wildflower that blooms in Death Valley National Park. Without further ado, let's get painting. For today's watercolor painting, I'm using 5 colors. I've got yellow, orange, yellow ochre, sap green, and burnt umber by Winsor & Newton. And then I'm using 2 round Princeton brushes in sizes 2 and size 8. And my watercolor paper I'm working with is a size 5x7. To get started, I'm going to be working with yellow ochre as the base color for the center of my flowers here. And I'm gonna do one kind of semi-large circle with yellow ochre. Okay, then I want to do a slightly smaller flower here, so this oval or circle here is going to be slightly smaller. And then I'd like to do maybe a couple daisies that are at an angle. So there's one, and maybe a slightly smaller one down here. I'm just going to allow the center of the flowers here just to dry and set a little bit, and then once we come back, we'll add some more detail. Using our size 2 brush, I am going to use some orange mixed with a little bit of burnt umber, just to deepen the burnt umber. And using the tip of my brush, I am just going to add some texture with a size 2 brush here. And I'm being sure to add the texture especially around the edges of the center of our desert gold daisies here and all throughout the circle as well. We want this really nice kind of pollen texture in the center of these flowers. And I'm just going to carry this texture over into the rest of the center of the desert golds. Now that I've got the center of our flowers done, I'm just gonna let them dry before moving on to the next step. Using our size 8 brush, I'm just gonna take some really nice bright yellow and I'm going to add some petals using a good amount of pressure with my brush, just like so. And I'm going to fan these petals and overlap them quite a bit all around the center of this flower, just using the belly of the brush. I'm just going to smooth out some of the edges of this flower just a hair bit using the tip of my brush, leaving some variegation. Okay, so next up, I'm going to repeat the same step, but just on a smaller scale onto this flower, and then we'll move on to our angled flowers. Okay, now onto our angled flowers here. I am just going to use the belly, meaning the side of our size 8 brush, just to get these nice wide strokes. And then on the top side of the center of the desert gold, I'm going to just have some more daintier petals, so they're shorter than the ones that are down below the oval. And then I'm just going to smooth out some of that outer edge texture. And I'll repeat the same step on this side angle flower as well. Before we move on to any other detail with our flowers, I do want to add just a few just dainty little buds. So I'm just going to do a few little ovals of bright yellow. And then next up, I'm going to switch gears to our size 2 brush, and I'm going to use some yellow ochre to get some more depth and shading between the petals of the desert golds. And I'm just going to lay out a few kind of streaks of this yellow ochre, just to kind of outline and texturize the petals here. And to help soften some of these lines, I'm going to use just some plain water on my brush and just kind of buff out some of those deeper lines here, using water and pressure with my brush alongside those dark yellow ochre streaks. And I'm just going to carry on the same technique for all of the flowers. Each of the buds, I'm just going to add just a touch of the yellow ochre on one side, just to help kind of give it a little bit of shading. Okay, now we can move on with our greenery, and we are going to mix a little bit of burnt umber with some sap green. And this is just going to give the sap green a little bit of an olive kind of tone. Okay, so using our size 2 brush, I'm going to do some delicate stems. And I just want to connect all of our flowers with some stems, that way they don't look like they're floating. So I'm going to start with just a curved green line. Maybe this larger marigold flower here is just going to be connected to this base stem, just like so. And I'm underlapping some of the stems behind the buds here. I'm going to do another stem, just slightly shorter, to connect this flower. And next I'm going to do one more kind of stem here that's underlapped behind this flower that will gradually connect to this side angle desert gold here. Not marigold, desert gold. Okay, so next I want to connect this base right here to this stem. So what I'm going to do is paint a little bit of our mixed green at the base of this bud here, and then do a slanted line to connect it to this stem. Okay, and next I want to connect these two buds to this stem here. So all I'm going to do is do an angled line to connect to this stem, and then a slightly angled dash line to connect to this smaller stem here. It's almost like a rainbow curve. And I'm just going to do a touch of green at the base of both of these buds. And then I want to connect these two buds as well. Maybe they connect behind this large flower to this stem here, so we may not see that, but we can at least do a couple dash lines here to make it look like it's connected, just tucked in behind there. And then I'm just going to do a touch of green at the base of these buds as well. Next, I want to add just a few little leaves. So I'm going to do a rainbow curve and another rainbow curve mirroring this same curvature here. And then I just fill it in with the green and add a little point to the end. So again, I'm doing a little rainbow curve connecting to the stem here, and then mimicking that rainbow curve, just mirroring it down below, adding a point to the end, and then just filling it in. And I'm going to add just a few of those kind of cute leaves at different angles in different places on our stem, and then we will be finished with our painting. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of this desert gold wildflower inspired by Death Valley National Park. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any further watercolor tutorials.